has improved their.
Improved.
Is that what they call it?
Okay, and we're live.
Where did you find this sign? That is awesome. I
It's
like
right
it.
there.
I like it. Brilliant.
Where is that live stream at?
I'm going to be emailing it out here.
It's not live.
It's Memorex?
There should be some sort of.
You have a YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Ash is old.
I like TSH
It's really old.
when you go fully atavistic.
Or ZSH.
ZSH
The new
is,
hotness.
what?
ZSH is the new hotness.
Yeah, have you been doing a lot of ZSH, Ken?
No,
I
I need
accidentally,
to
I
play with it
accidentally
though.
installed CSH once, and it took me forever to figure out how to get out of it.
That was a four-letter word.
System, and it's so minimal in order that it doesn't actually have Bash. You have to figure out how to use it.
The one I don't like is when they just have, I mean, it's Bash, but they've got tab completion to say, I'm like, really, I actually have to type it out and remove the proper spelling.
You're gonna make me
Like,
type the
come
whole
on.
thing?
It's only this long, what's a problem?
It's
It's only this long.
Yeah.
The story I thought was funny was when a coworker, was primarily Linux, but they knew enough about Linux. Whatever distro they learned on had LL similar to LS dash whatever.
Alias.
The first
Yeah.
time they were on a machine that didn't have that alias, they didn't know how to list directory.
Because that's the only
They-
command they knew to list directly.
Yeah, they had to look it up. They're like, what am I doing? Oh, that's not actually a command. Okay.
Like command LL.
Some of
Nothing.
those, like Bash built-ins are also not there if you're not using Bash. So there's a lot of like little tiny programs too.
Yeah, I
No manual
actually
entry
had
for
somebody who was
Oops.
using a.
I was actually
SCP,
looking, Ken, for
Windows CP,
LULZ,
and
LUL, LUL shell.
whatever button he hit
Do you use
get to
LUL
a
shell yet?
terminal, it launched in something other than Bash, and then he
No?
was just completely
Yes.
lost.
Maybe.
We're live
Buffering?
whenever you're ready.
Realize you're waiting
He's
for
regulating the,
If you're,
Supposedly,
no one's watching, but
nobody's watching.
well, I was gonna test watch it on here and see
We're
if
live.
we do,
my computer's grinding a little here.
Live and not in person. On the interwebs. Oh yeah. Hopefully I have enough time
just
to.
send an email to Mark Brim.
What? Bash. Hacks, one-liners, other sketchy ideas. That's the theme for tonight. So,
YouTube.
yes.
I can't seem to be on the video.
Well, you wrote a lot there, Ken.
No, that's Wikipedia.
I know it is.
The sites and sources too.
Bash has a long history.
Yeah,
And if you use
Oh, wow,
Bash,
88.
you will have a long history.
Oh, I see. It's a user. That's why. Yeah, we're live now.
So, history. What do we know about it? History obviously lists your history. History 3 only lists the last 3, but check that out. It includes the command that you just did. So that could be annoying if you don't realize that. Because it doesn't actually look at the history until it's written.
Well,
in
you
history.
type in, you usually have to type in history 3, then you put head -2.
So right now, the history file is empty. Of course, you know up arrow, down arrow. You can scroll through the history.
What did you do in between?
This is a demo. I cleared it before I did those.
But wouldn't it have 1 through 6 in the bash history?
I cleared it,
But you cleared it, did you do it from a different terminal?
possibly.
Oh, okay. Because if this is your only command set, that doesn't make sense.
Well, there is 1 through 6. Look,
If you jump terminal,
look what I did there, though. There is 1 through 6, or 1 through 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was the first history command I ran. The second history only grabbed the last 3. So 1 through 5 are there.
right, but if you switch term.
In
you
this
had to switch
session.
terminals.
So the history doesn't write out to the history file until you log out.
Really? I didn't know that.
So there's no history in the bash history until you log out, or you can do a nifty little. I'm going to mistype history.
Dash
50 W. Now all that crap's in there.
Okay.
So if you just wrote a command that you want in your history, you better do a history -W to make sure it gets in the file. Because if I were to crash out of this session, all the things I did during that session would be gone. If someone rebooted the server.
I like that.
So,
Usually I'm looking for history -C.
Yep.
the other way around.
so. Now, here's another fun thing. I'm doing that over and over and over again, but it's not adding on. Right? There is a hist size, hist file size, but also hist control. His control in your bash RC or whatever profile you're loading will ignore repeated commands, so it won't insert those into history. And it will also ignore things that begin with white space. It won't insert those into the session history. So you can also do ignore, I think it's, I can't remember what off the top of my head. It's like you can do them individually if you want one but not the other. But ignore both does both. Dedupes basically and takes out anything. So if you wanted to do echo, please don't save this. I put a space in front of echo, it's not in the history. If I do less bash RC, less bash RC, less bash RC, it only shows up once because I did it 3 times. The default behavior without that ignore both set, you'd have that in there 3 times. Over and over again, like watching a file. And it's filling up your history. Oh, we can also do, of course, you'll notice there's an index at the front of each of those. So if you do !6, it will call history 3, which is the number 6 on the index. Another neat little trick is, let's see. Let's do -3. Clear history. That was the 3rd command back in the current command, or the last command of the thing, actually. So we were there. We went 1, 2, 3 to get -3. And then the other, oh, that just runs the last one. Which, why bother? That's more keystrokes and more keyboard interaction than to just hit the up arrow and enter.
I love that though, for when you forgot pseudo.
Oh,
That's when I always use it too.
I didn't, I
Yeah.
figured that
Oh.
you could do something else with exclamation marks, but I didn't know it was command history.
Well-
I like that.
I mean,
Pseudo bang bang.
oh,
It's like-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't up arrow after the yep.
Yep.
Like that. I don't have pseudo. You will be reported.
Reporting to who though?
Huh,
Right, anyways.
it did.
The CISO.
Ran it without permission, without, that's funny. Okay, and then another one that's kind of fun is colon P. It loads that into the next slot available in history, so that becomes the immediate previous count. So if you wanted to edit a command that was like 12 back, you could do minus 12 colon P, and it pops into the immediate previous spot.
I'm confused.
So
So first, what's the difference between the negative and the 8? It counts backward versus forward. So
Eight-
it starts at 1 or
8
0.
is the actual index.
Okay.
So
8 is
you'll
just
you'll
the
notice
index,
they're
yeah.
all indexed.
Yep.
So 8 is the actual index. Minus 12 is going 12 back from 16.
Okay. So from whatever your most recent.
Whatever your most recent. And then the colon P takes whatever and pops it into the bottom slot. So if you want number 8
So if you run
to
history
go into the
now,
bottom,
in number 17, you'll see the command that's on 8.
actually you'll see,
No, it's
Yeah,
just like.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
There it
there
is.
you go.
Okay. Gotcha.
because that's what I did at that point.
So it's basically printing it out to your history file without
It's
actually
printing it into
running
your session history, not your file. Your
right,
session.
without having you have to actually run it again. So if you are in the file, you can throw
Well, if you wanted to edit the line, let's say you had a really big command line, like a one-liner, we'll do later, and you needed to change which file it was affecting. You could pop that into the previous history. So let's say,
Instead of like scrolling up 12 times. You could load it, it'll 12 going back.
how do you edit it then? It just printed it out. The heck of it.
Then you kind of hit up once and then bring it back.
Oh, okay. So you're doing 2 commands, but it's still faster. Such a noob to me.
grab something food, okay? Well, food doesn't have anything in it. And then you ls, and you do some other
Yeah,
stuff.
so-
Okay. So let's say line 23 was something a lot longer. You're doing a really big operation against that foo file. Right, line 23, grab something foo. Okay, so that 23 colon P, that pops it into the immediate previous. Then you can do this. Bar. Or no, foo. Bar. It will replace foo with bar in whatever commands immediately previous and run against the bar file. Well, there's no such file. But it tried to, and it shows up in the history set.
Nice. Okay.
So if you need to replace something in the immediate previous command, that's a wild card replace. Kind of like S said S slash replace a little bit. So yeah, grab something food, grab something bar. What else did I have in here? So yeah, the numbers are handy, especially if you've got a bigger screen and you've got a huge history, because then you can do like history less, and then move through it and even search with less, you know, looking for foo. There's foo. So you can search your history that way. So that's the basics. Temporary disable history. What if you were doing a whole bunch of stuff that you just didn't want to go into history?
Like the script kiddie.
So I do that all
Set plus O history. So that shows up in history.
the time. So you do whatever the command for deleting the last history is.
That's pretty easy.
History dash D dash to make a volume.
Oh yeah, and you might not want that to appear in history, so you've got to ignore both of them. Put a space in front of it. You're good to go. It's gone.
What was that?
History minus D and the number. Unfortunately, there's no range with that, so you can't
Just
delete a range of things.
You could do curly brackets, starting number, dot, dot, ending number.
Ooh, let's try that out.
Let's try it.
So,
Let's try it. Let's delete 18 and 19.
no, because
That sounds like fun.
that'd be the same as doing like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 1, 3.
Yeah.
Did it do all of them? No, it only did the first one.
Well, it
One.
deleted main LL. It did.
But there were 30, and now there's only 29. Because it deleted
that makes sense.
several things. It would be-
But
it would be
doesn't,
short.
doesn't the dot dot?
The dot dot
actually run
syntax
command
is the same as
multiple times?
typing those out. on the command line. It doesn't while.
Because I've used that to like delete large amounts of files before. No, you're probably right.
History
I'm just curious. to see
minus
what-
D. You said, what was it?
Curly
Curly.
bracket?
Can't remember the syntax.
Curly braces. Yep, that's the
Yeah,
guy.
One.
yeah,
Dot dot. 10.
sure.
Comme ça. You want to do the
No.
last one? You want to do one?
Huh.
Yeah. That's a limitation of the delete.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense though, because if you're removing a lot of files, aren't those support multiple files?
Oh, yeah. So.
We'll write a wrap
25.
for each.
Ooh,
Shouldn't be hard to script out.
Yeah, like 3 lines and you'd be done.
that's
I don't know what those
interesting.
3 lines would be.
So we disabled history, but guess what? It's really disabled.
Yeah.
You can't even do the functions. You can still up and down arrow.
What was that to disable it? Set plus O?
Set plus O history.
Interesting that it's not history.
Set.
Or something.
Minus O history reverses that trend and brings us back. That's a that I didn't expect or run into yet.
So set plus O is basically amnesia.
Set plus O, think of as my mnemonic device is omit.
Yeah,
Set plus omit.
yeah,
Set minus omit.
yeah, but plus O equals amnesia.
Yeah.
For history,
Or omission.
omission.
It's a lie of omission.
No, that's true.
You're lying to your bass session. I didn't do that. What are you talking about?
But it's still there with the up arrow, so.
I wonder if that resets the environmental variable of the history.
I think it does.
I don't know why it-
Because it's like it couldn't find the history file. for you.
That's everything that has history in it. There we go.
Yeah, 'cause you did his file.
Hist is what we need to search for there. So if we do the set plus O, O, Does it look any different? Doesn't really look any different, does it? Yeah, if I had captured them in a file.
Hash shops. Is that,
Yeah, I don't think it, I think it's just in the shell, in the session itself. Minus O. Okay, we got our history back. Again, hasn't written anything to the file. So we've got all this stuff in the session that hasn't been written out to the file.
Is there a way to force it to be written?
TAC W. History TAC W. Now,
I'll be on the test later.
if I cap that, all that stuff's in there. So if you want to force a write out of your last session, dash W. So, if you really want to cover your tracks, history minus C. I got nothing now. Nothing. But all that stuff's in there. History minus R dash history. All my stuff is back. You can read from any file.
Nice.
And it doesn't have to be your own, it doesn't have to be dot dash history, it can be any file.
Doesn't have to be a history file either.
It could be anything. You could load a bunch of crap. You could use your history.
This sounds like a good, this sounds like a good way to set a flag to CTF, just read from the history file and write your history. And then, or wipe the one command where you read in, and then they'll be like, I can't find this flag, well, we have to, up there for it.
Yep, so you can read and write and clear. So again, we're not in self-talking. Okay, so I loaded all this stuff in my file, my history. It's in the session, it's in the file, both. What if I want to clear them both and then get the heck out of here?
Yeah, and when you read it, that came up at the top of your history.
Yeah, because that was in the session.
Yeah,
It appends what you read to the current section.
yeah, so it has no sense of time.
Yeah.
So would you history dash?
If I put a space in front of history and ran that, it would omit it. And then, yeah. So
Why don't you just,
history minus C.
I do two ampersand, so
Tell you.
it runs them all together instead of separate, wouldn't it?
You want them sequential. Because you want to clear the session history, because C will clear what's in memory. W writes out an empty memory to the file, and then you exit.
Pseudo denied. That's your mail. I was thinking
Up arrow,
history
down
dash
arrow,
C,
nothing.
ampersand RM dot dash history.
Nothing there. Up arrow, down arrow, nothing.
Had a bunch of stuff. I'll see what it would do. So if you then do a history dash C. And
There's a
then,
bunch of stuff.
okay, so if we do history dash
History.
C.
Well, let's write it out first too, so
Okay, so history dash C, ampersand, ampersand. And then RM dot dash underscore history. And what does that do? Does that do the same?
history dash W.
It's not clear if I'm moving the file, do I?
Well, we want the file there.
Oh, okay.
It'll just be empty.
If you remove the file, I guess you're playing it from memory before you remove the file.
Yeah, it should be similar. That worked too.
Okay, cool. You know, when you run a top command, since it's checking every 2 seconds, if you had the duplicates option for history turned so that it would show duplicates, would it show it every 2 seconds? Or did it just show the top?
No, you would have called top just once.
Okay. So it's only commands that you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
The top command would be issued once and it would, it's still running. It still has the same process ID that whole time it's refreshing. It's the same process. It's not calling itself and then killing itself and calling itself again. Which would be weird, but
Well, I don't know, I mean, I can have it cat out a file, and as soon as I change the file, it knows, so.
let's see. Temporary disable history, delete the command of the history, we did that. Omit certain commands and deduplicate, we did that. Hist size and hist file size, you kind of saw those. So hist file, actually, so hist file, you can actually set where you want your bash history or what you want it called. And then size. So file size and hist size. So those are two different things because we have memory and we have file. So hist size is your session size. So it'll only remember the last 1,000 of this session and then they'll start rolling off the end. Hist file size only remembers 2,000.
Does size refer to lines or characters? Okay.
That many lines. And that's actually kind of high. I think if you don't set those at all, the default is like 500. Like if you don't
Yeah,
have it
it's
set,
small, it's real small.
It's only like 500.
Also, if you wanted to be very clever, you could set hist file to dev null or something like that.
Yeah.
Or 0.
Then you would never have history.
Or just change the permissions on it, then you get an error every time.
So yeah, file versus memory, we've kind of already covered that. So when you log in, the prior history is loaded from the whatever set to that variable, by default .bash_history. While logged in, the commands are tracked only in that session. And then when you properly log out, not crash out, those commands are appended to that file, whatever was in that file. And anything that's older than that file size gets bumped out.
How does it work for?
So if you did 1,000 things and you had 2,000 things in your hist file already, you would just remove those oldest 1,000 and put in your current 1,000. What's the previous?
How does it work for non-logging shells?
I don't know. Well, this is Bash, so it requires you be in Bash.
Right, so I have.
So you have to have a shell.
I find that generally
Right.
I have like 4 tabs open in a terminal.
And
And I get the history saved for one of those 4 tabs, but not the other 3.
not the other three. Yep.
And if you use history space
So-
dash W, you should be able to do it. There was also one thing that Ken had in there. There was an option to
Yeah.
merge histories. Do you see that, Ken, in the command file for Bash? There was a thing, there was a command option merge all the Bash histories or something like that. It was like CMD something or another in there.
No, I don't remember seeing
You
that.
dump out the Bash config file or whatever. There was an option in there to merge or to grab, put them all together. See, it was merge history or use merge history. Okay, so it's a command line argument, command option, use merge history.
So if you had 4 tabs, all logged in as the same user, and you did some nifty stuff in all 4 tabs that you wanted to save in the history, as you're logging out of each one, you should probably do history
W.
minus W before you leave them for you. history minus W will append the next one, and the next one, and the next one.
If you wanna document it, just put an extra echo command in each
Or you
one.
could do an alias of something nifty that aliases to history minus W, semicolon, exit.
I might add that actually when I get home, because there'll be someone's like, dang it, I wanted this tab and sync this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do an alias of exit.
That's what I'm thinking, just do an alias that's,
That makes me feel dirty.
I'll just alias like 3 dots in a row will be my,
Something weird.
alias to,
Something that only you will know
W
and no one else will.
exit.
Ah,
And next time you're on a strange machine, you'll wonder why 3 dots won't take the hour.
Exactly. Like, right, it's not giving me upper directory or current
Okay.
directory here.
actually, you might want to use history minus A. A actually appends.
History minus A.
Oh,
Whereas
that's
W just clobbers.
W clobbers, and that's what's happening when you log
Okay.
out. So that's your problem.
Yeah.
Because you're getting clobbered every time you log out. So you log out of the first session, and when you log out of the second session, it clobbers whatever you just did.
I think
The first
my default must be -A.
Depending on
I
what you
have-
did.
I have history.
According to
some
this, it
reboots.
says history minus W writes what was read from the file
Yeah.
plus what you did in your session. R reads the default history file and
Well, but no,
puts it at the back.
but that makes sense though, that makes.
History
perfect
minus
sense.
A appends the current session history to the history file.
Right.
So
But wouldn't each terminal have its own history file in memory? When you exit out, it should
Right,
just
but,
append it
but
to
here's,
the-
I
but
think
if
I
you
get
did
it.
20 things in the first shell before you open the next
Oh,
shell,
we'll go in a different place. Yeah,
they'll
sure.
be in different places.
Right, so if you open 4 all at the same time, you do a bunch of stuff, and then close them one by one, each one, when it read the file, it got the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's clobbering it with what it read plus the appending.
Yeah.
That, if you.
So
close
you're
them
losing
all
the
at
session.
the same time.
Right,
But then if you
Page number on
append,
each one.
if you append, it sounds like it reads it right then, and then.
It
drops
only puts the stuff that you did in that session at the end of the file.
Right, but it sounds like
So then you go to the
dash
next
A
one.
doesn't care about what you read at the beginning, it cares about what it reads at the end. I'll
When
play
you-
with it.
When you do minus A, it's taking the session memory stuff and putting it at the end of the bash file, however it appears.
But W does
Mm.
basically the same thing, because it,
W writes everything you read from the bash history file before you started, plus everything you did during your session.
so it rewrites the entire thing.
It rewrites the entire file with whatever was in your session memory.
So sessions don't know about other sessions.
Right, so they clobber.
That's why they're clobbered.
Yep. But that's also why over reboots, I can see back 3 or 4 reboots, because, it read it from the previous reboot.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the internet says you edit your -rc file with export prompt command equals history dash A, then you'll automatically do that every time you execute your bash session.
And update that. What else did I have in here? I can't remember if I did this yet. So there's that. Okay, so I loaded some stuff, I logged out, I logged back in. So that loaded some stuff from the file, and now I've tacked on some stuff from the session. History minus N compares the history loaded from the file at login to the current history file. Let's see what that does. No difference.
Now, if you history dash W, right, it should be history dash N should show something different.
Maybe. Or maybe if another session had tacked some stuff on the file, it would show differences. But I don't have 2 sessions going, so.
really fun is when you have about 10 different terminals open in screen or something like that.
I'm going to use screen better.
Okay. Mhm. Let's begin. No, I didn't do anything.
You have to write the file first.
He did in the other
I
section.
did in the other
Oh,
section.
he didn't in this one though.
But it's supposed to compare what's in the file.
Cat the file, see if it's different. Probably is. It's got 19 lines.
Second session is in there.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
So maybe this version of Bash doesn't quite work that way.
What version of Bash is, or what distro is this?
How do you know what version of Bash you're using actually? Or
Good question. Dash dash B?
Oh, you used to know how to do that. Check that package manager.
I didn't like it.
will the package manager tell you what version of Bash it is?
I did bash dash B and it tells me bash completion or bash completion version. Tells me a lot of stuff.
What is it? Q? Or is it just query? No, I need an option.
Correct.
Package query list. There you go. 4.2.
Dash dash version.
So do you have a Bash history of the versions of Bash?
You're on version 2?
4.2.
Okay,
37.
I was gonna say, what? I'm on 4.4.
I would think there'd be a change log between all different versions of Bash.
On the internet, I'm sure.
So that one didn't work. Well, let me read this again. History minus n compares the history loaded from the file at login to the current history file. It then appends to the in-memory history any lines that were added since the session started. It doesn't look like it's working right.
In my man file for bash, the only thing I'm seeing about in is the nth word.
Well, history is a built-in to bash, so you have to look into the built-ins section. Okay. Here's one that's kind of funky. Okay, do we have greps in there? Yeah, we do. So I don't remember which command it was that I had grep in, but I know I want to run the last command that I did with grep in. There it is.
Wow.
So grep. I don't know which one I did grep, but I want to repeat the last grep I did. So I know I did grep 5 or 6 commands ago, but I don't want to sit there and get up there at all.
Right, so I'm trying to figure out though. So what are the question mark operators? Are they searching?
Yeah.
Or because it's grep, are you grepping for grep?
First.
It's like a router.
So what command has first in it? It's 23, right? So I
Okay,
did.
so it is a
So I
search.
did exclamation
Okay.
point, question mark, first, question mark. It should echo.
Okay, that
This
makes
is our
sense.
session.
What if
And
you
if-
did cat? You've got several cats that are
It
DPKG.
just does the mysteries. Because you hit grep in there twice. then hit the mysteries.
If you do exclamation -1 question mark. DPKG question mark.
What?
I might explode again.
Got all
PPK
sorts of stuff to play around with.
G query. Sure. Code B. That puts it in the immediate previous, and then you can edit it and say, I want to find screen. So you can mix and match these things together to do various fun stuff. All right. One last thing under the esoterica. FC. This one's fun. So history. Let's see. What's a sequence of commands out of those commands that we'd want to run? Maybe 26 through 31?
Sounds like fun.
26, 31. It opens them up in an editor. You can make whatever changes you want, and as soon as you write this file out, it executes them in sequence. So you can move them around. You basically made a script out of,
On the fly.
Can
On
you
the fly.
force execution immediately on that?
out of your history.
Yeah.
When you write an exit, it will,
Only on write an, you can't actually,
So if I go
Not
down here and
first
say,
up there.
I don't want that line, I can
So what did
just
you do to get here?
delete it.
FC
FC.
space, and then he has line number to line number.
Line number to line number.
Yeah, dot, it's line number.
So I don't
dot,
want
line
this.
number. And, but it throws into an editor, I was just wondering if you just.
And
just
you
do
can
this
set
thing
which
on the
editor
run.
you want. You can set which editor you want. too.
Yeah.
I understand, but I mean, I use VI, but I mean, it's.
So
I
just
was
ran all
thinking
those
about,
commands in
You can
sequence.
just trigger it to execute right away.
Yeah, it takes you whatever editor you have set. The default in this one was nano.
I guess you could.
I don't know.
So that's a way to execute a script.
It's a built-in, so it's
Yeah, I see. I never used that.
But yeah.
command before.
FC
Yeah, display your
So-
commands from the history list.
42, 44. And it just loads just those. If you exit, it runs them. If you just do FC, it only grabs the last file. And it runs it. So you better be prepared to run whatever you had in there because it's gonna run it. I haven't figured out how to exit without running,
But you don't write
Well,
the,
you
don't
have
write the
to-
lines. Just.
but I just exited. And it ran
Yeah,
it.
but you wrote them first, right?
This time I just.
Yeah, I
exited.
did a control X and it did the same thing. It's like, oops, no, there should be a way of. You hit Command K or Control K until all lines are blank and then you exit.
Yeah, you can do that.
Or you just set the top command to exit. Wonder if that would do it.
Well, then you'd exit your
Exit out of
session.
your session. Hey, what do it for?
So you better do a history dash A. So I call it exit. No. All right. Now we get into the stupid stuff. One-liners, what are they? You know what one-liners are, right?
Fun.
It's like bash calls.
One-off hacks that live for a while in your bash history. If you use them enough, they live on.
As an alias.
And if they are really useful, you turn them into bona fide scripts. Because you've just been using the heck out of this thing. It's been living in your history and you don't want to accidentally clobber your history and lose it forever. So you actually turn it into a script. And of course, when you turn it into a script, you might make it a little more fancy. Like do command line parameters and all that kind of stuff too. One-liners usually don't have any command line parameters. So, until that's a fun one. If you just rebooted the host and you're impatiently waiting to SSH back into it, it's kind of nice. It'll try to SSH, it'll fail, it'll try again in 7 seconds, it'll fail. When the host is up, you'll get proper for your password. Or if it's HTTP, you'll display it if you don't have a password key.
That's much better than mine. I just did natural report, like infinity.
Well, there's also,
And then when my text changes, I'm like, oh, I can lock back in.
I've done top, you just ping it with top, and as soon as I get a ping, I'm like, okay. Or I guess on, guess you don't need to use top for that, I've done top for others.
so if you're not knocking at the door and really wanting to know right away when it's up, Host.com is online again. Seems to that.
You could, if it's doing a really long reboot, you could
Pull it
even,
with ping,
yeah. You could
and then
even,
when you start getting pings, it'll send you an email
yeah,
saying host is up.
there's, you can even do, Mailgun's API works on the
Huh?
same ones, you can even read that.
Yeah, extreme value. I guess
Hey, I could have it turn on my bedroom lamp when it gets pinged.
So after your email address, that carrot, would that redirect that null into the MailX program?
So MailX at that point is expecting a file or expecting you to type in a message.
Oh, okay, so you're just, okay,
So you're basically just giving
You're
it the
sending
null
the
file
subject only.
yeah.
so that it, otherwise it's gonna interactively prompt you for that.
So that would be subject, some host, blah, 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 and then a blank body.
Yeah, the whole point of the message is to send the subject.
Yeah, because Bash will treat that as a redirector, but if it, Bash isn't interpreting it until it's using, or MailX, I guess. That makes sense.
Let's say you want to keep an eye on some things. And for some reason your system doesn't have
Top.
Watch. And
Not
you-
top, okay.
and you can't install Watch.
well,
Some-
if you're on
some
Mac,
have.
you have to install ports for
Really?
Homebrew or
I'll be on Mac.
it's
Or
freaking
if you're
annoying.
on- Or if you're on a wireless router. that
Or you could-
doesn't support.
Yeah, something with a minimal OS that doesn't have something like that.
You got BusyBox, so in that version
Minus some
4, we
stats.
don't have watch.
A watch log file. That's an easy one-liner hack. So there it is again. So basically put whatever you want between the sleep and the clear. And it'll just keep doing that over and over and over again.
So how does the while clear?
While clear.
I don't get that part.
Well, the clear command is going to exit successfully when it clears the screen. And that returns a true to while.
Okay.
So it's the same as saying while true, except that it's actually doing something.
Okay, hold on, so it goes uptime, but it, what is it echoing?
The echoes are just to put spaces.
Okay,
It's just
so it
a-
echoes and then it who and then echo. Okay,
So-
right,
so
echo-
see-
Echo ends with the new.
See how
line.
I have spaces in between
Yeah,
each
yeah,
of
yeah.
the things I'm
Echo
doing?
ends with the new line, okay.
Yep.
And then
D-message is just a log file.
typing it to sleep, okay,
if
so
you
then
plug in a
once
USB
sleep's
device, you'll
done,
see that. show
I
up
get
in
it, so once sleep's done, then WoW comes back and can clear the screen again. 'cause
Clears the screen,
okay.
yep.
And then it runs forever.
And it has no end.
I get it.
So if you don't have which, you can kind of sort of make up your
Make
own.
sure your control C works. good.
Make sure your control C works.
Could you up arrow again,
So I can
please?
get that real quick.
Well, you can do sleep point 3.
Also known as a space heater.
I actually,
Every 0.3 seconds, it's refreshing the screen.
there
Well,
was
a
actually
little
a
bit less
command
than
you
that.
could run to set like how much of a, I don't remember what it was, I have it written down at home, there was a string where basically, something similar to that, only you were actually telling it to utilize this like 100% of the processor. You actually got mode server, but actually the space you get with that. It's great.
I've done that with a wall true do done. So wall true, run in a circle as fast as you can, just calling true.
Okay.
Next time you guys wanna do that, let me know, I'll give you a crypto miner. We'll be happy.
Consider that as well.
Here's a fun one. Let's say you want to generate random PIN numbers that are 8 digits long.
Really random 4 times.
How random is that random?
That's the super random.
That's a long time.
It's a super long
Well,
time.
like, is it?
But it's random enough for probably generating pins.
Is it random?
Someone uses lava lamps for their.
Bash is using URAN to
Okay.
get random.
I can't remember who was using
But yeah.
lava lamps for the random.
Yeah, there are a couple people. that do
Yeah,
that.
I saw that on the whole wall.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
And that sounds like a good topic for next month. How random is
Yeah,
random?
random is- And how do you tell how random?
And how do you measure the randomness of a lava lamp?
It can be done.
Yeah.
So-
They used it as bits, I
Maybe it was a radioactive lava
Yeah.
lamp.
No, they just assume
No.
that the randomness of the lava lamp is random. And then they put like a whole grid of them up and then they have a webcam aimed at it and
So
it
there's that
basically
one.
hashes the image.
And the reason I'm doing random is because it will concatenate those random numbers together and give you enough that you can cut them down
Cut
to
it
8.
down to size, yes.
Because if you don't put enough,
What happens?
you will get crap like this that are not 8 characters long.
Or your credit card pins on 4 digits, I mean.
It should be good enough for anybody.
Right.
So Cloudflare does that.
Okay.
Of course they would.
Cloudflare does the lava lamps?
And if
I
there's
think
only
they, I
2,
think they got it from, I think they got the idea from someone else.
every now and then you'll get one that's
Sure. Lava lamps or something else.
every now and then. But you usually have to go pretty fast to get that
The
to
real
happen.
fun for the radioactive random number generators is if you just happen to
There,
flood the
there's
area
one.
with radiation. so it
Sure.
can go on And max
You
out.
peg
your
out the numbers and then it goes back down.
number. That's actually known attach.
Yes.
Or-
Oh, now look at that.
I
Yeah, you
didn't
have to get a
mitigate my
short
house
one
for
there.
radon because I'm using it.
As long as the levels aren't too high. As long as your levels aren't there, you're fine.
Yeah.
So we don't go to the
Maybe we
basement.
should
Yeah,
tell
don't
her-
don't go down the basement. I'm randomly generating numbers.
Apparently that doesn't help much. 'cause it
Looks like
Yeah.
SGI started it back in 2005. Or no, SGI patented it in 96. And then a
The
company
lava
called-
lamp random number generator?
Yeah, and then apparently the Lava R&D company worked on it in 2005 and Cloudflare picked it up pretty recently.
Well, I'm glad that there's continuity.
Okay. So that was a pretty nice little random number generator.
How many?
My previous iteration of the random pin generator was fugly. And I mean that in the most
Offensive way.
offensive
Loving way.
possible.
The question is, do lava lamps qualify for NSA interdiction?
That's my previous random number generator.
Wow.
And it is fugly.
But was it better?
No, it pretty much does the exact same freaking thing. The only thing it has different is it does take command line parameters.
Oh, really?
So you can set a quantity and a length
Entertaining.
So
up to 24 because I don't go any further than that.
how often are you needing to generate pins?
Oh, well, we have a phone system.
Oh.
And users.
So it's called SIP.
You know,
I got you.
you know those TOTP
For
things?
their-
They're not actually based on a key. He just
For their
generates them on the fly and sees the thing.
So there's that. It is ugly as heck. So I have since modified this script to basically use that one liner.
Now, I'm curious
Because
because
It's like, oh.
Yeah, why did I go through all this trouble?
I'd be curious though to see if you could,
When I could just concatenate several randoms together and cut them down to whatever size I need.
I'd be curious to see what it would take to have it, only output ASCII. And therefore you could have a password generator.
Yeah, you could probably make it, you could
Well,
probably,
for that, you just use PWGen.
but he doesn't want to use that.
Well, PWGen won't do numbers only, which is why I had to make my pin generator,
You could do a modulus.
right? So man, PWGen, there's a command line option to exclude numbers. There's a command line option to make sure it has numbers, but there's no option to make sure it entirely consists of numbers.
Seems like a good.
They should, that sounds like they should have like dash,
Yeah,
they should have a dash P for pin code or something for numbers.
yeah.
And then a link, command, like if it's a 4 or 6 or 12 digits or whatever, it would be.
So it
Seems
just
like a
fills the
good
screen
pull
with
request.
10 character long. values.
Well, hold this dash numerals. Oh, no, never mind, that's just some numerals.
Hit minus
It's
S.
so uncomplicated, they didn't bother to include it in the program.
Is it
I would
minus
think it's not
S?
secure enough.
Is it minus S?
There's
or-
SHA-1 there for you.
Yeah, minus S is supposed to be secure, completely random, but it didn't look like it did that.
Yeah, I like how they say that, where they'll say,
So it didn't really
take
do
the
that.
password to the monitor because they're hard to
Because there's no
memorize.
special characters in there. That's kind of stupid. Oh, well, that's,
Can you put?
so that's why I made the pin generators, because I was using PWGen to generate passwords.
But you
I
want a
wanted
separate.
pins,
Make PASSWD or password maker. Looks like exists.
so I came up with the pin generator, which was
Probably more secure.
really ugly. Here's another one. I know we're on a Debian system, but we use Red Hat-ish systems at work, so here it is. Check for updates. So you got a mail to person, you get the host name that you grab. You have a temp file, and then you say if not, because for some reason yum check updates returns the opposite of what you would expect, right? If not yum check update, and put everything into temp file.
So you could just put
So you're
it,
capturing the output, both error, standard error and standard out to the temp file. If not check update, then mail, we have updates.
so I wonder, could you
Send
just. put
Mail
a-
X takes minus A as a attachment. So I'm putting it as an attachment instead of inlining it with that. And I couldn't inline it right there if I wanted to. Else, no updates, but I still send the temp file in case there's an error.
So you could put an or set in there and put the apt update
Yeah.
as well.
You could,
So
That
whichever
way-
one it is. it'll
whichever
work.
one it is, it'll work.
It's
So
agnostic.
Is MailX its own?
Mail X is kind of like an extended version of the regular mail program.
If
Okay.
it has-
Could-
has-
can
what-
you
what's nice
point
command
it-
line?
Can you tell it to use another SMTP server? Or does it have to use like whatever?
This is just using the local mail.
I
Okay, so the
believe-
email address doesn't actually go to an email address?
What do you,
Well, it's a local.
You have to configure all your SMTP settings.
yeah, you would have to.
Okay.
That would be a separate task. The server upon which you are running this must be able to send mail.
Okay, gotcha. But can you configure MailX then to say, I want to use this SMTP server? I wanna use this?
You really end up setting up more forwarding than anything else, but
You could do some other things like that.
You don't have to.
it's not really your own mail server. It's just, it takes your entry from local and passes it to someone else.
Yeah. think of it
And
like-
again, remember the title of this was
Okay, so. it's just-
one-liners and other
Yeah,
sketchy
okay.
ideas.
Okay, got it.
Here's another sketchy idea. let's say you've checked for those updates and now you want to apply them.
So you're running satellite, basically. Take that, Red Hat.
That's all kinds of goodies there.
Oh. I think I messed up. I need to insert first.
Hate it when that happens.
There we go. So again, mail to, I grab my process ID, I grab the host name, I make a temp file, I make a lock file, because we don't want to be updating and updating again and updating again. And have 12 updates turned up at the same time, so we want to make sure that we're not already updating.
Does Yum not make its own lock file?
No. Well, it does, yeah, it does, but the command's gonna fail, and then this thing's probably.
You can still stack up some
So if they
processes.
stack up, you could get into a.
Nasty bit
So
of,
it's a good idea just to lock file yourself in your own script. If there's a possibility that the last update didn't finish all the way and was still running when you check again.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've run into that before with an RSA.
So this is my lock file. If it exists, you know, echo. If it doesn't exist, then echo my PID into it. Otherwise, hey, there's a lock file there. It shouldn't be there. Then, of course, check if you have updates. So this is a different way of checking that status of the previous command. You'll notice I don't have an if statement here. I just have yum check update, and then I'm grabbing the $? variable, which is a bash special variable that grabs the exit status of the immediately previously executed command. I'm pushing that into the status variable, then I'm checking it. So this all can be compressed into that. Going off of bash. We have updates. So you do the deed, you grab the output, and you mail and say, hey, I updated this server. And optional, well, not optional because I didn't comment it out, is read it.
Non-optional is what you say.
Optional, as per, but.
There you go. It's optional now.
No, I'm curious though, you could put in a random command and say, if divisible by 2, then reboot, and if not, then don't, just have it pick.
Then, I like this little section of code. Else, something must have gone horribly wrong.
Is this an actual?
This code should never execute. It should never execute. But if it does, something went horribly wrong. And it will mail you and tell you.
So it's the script equivalent of generate pink slip.
Pretty much, yeah.
Actually, since the script is telling you beforehand, it allows you to have a chance
Yeah.
to fix the issue before
Before
someone else finds
someone else finds
out
out. Yeah.
and blames you for it.
The next command after this is.
And
write
yes,
resume.
this is this is sketchy, but I do use it in production.
I've got a very.
Basically, sort of like non-critical systems that I
How
do
is
want
this-
updated,
how is this
or
sketchy?
internet-facing ones that I want to update as soon as it's available.
Yeah,
It
so
just
for
checks
Yum,
regularly.
I don't care about all security or all updates, I only care about the security updates.
Yeah.
I think there's like a dash.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of options to limit what Yum does.
Yeah.
So you could make this limited to only security updates.
Yep. And so I have it email me a list of all the security updates, so I can decide whether or not I want to actually.
Yep.
To install them.
But what I'm doing is I'm actually using that previous script, which is the one that checks for updates and emails you the list of things. I run that at like 3:45 p.m. And then I have the actual application of the updates run at like 3:45 a.m. the next day. So 3:45 p.m. previous day, 3:45 a.m. the next day. And then I will include something like in the subject line that says like, this server will apply updates and reboot in 12 hours. So when I get that message to check for updates, it has a warning right in the subject line that says, I'm gonna be doing this in 12 hours. So if you don't want any of these things in this list, you better take care of that before you go home.
Or you hope you're not on vacation yet.
Or you hope you're not on vacation, but someone else's problem is that.
For the reboot thing, there's,
Unless they call you while you're on vacation, that's.
Yeah.
Say, what did you do, Ken?
They have to reach me to do that.
And say, you
I
say,
mean,
I'm
you
in
probably
Belize
haven't
right
seen
now
that
in John
since you're
McAfee's
so-
old house.
Yeah.
so Yum has another, option that's not used often enough, by the package maintainers, but you can put in there whether or not a reboot is required for patch to take.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And, you can actually query Yum to see which packages require a reboot and only reboot if it's needed, so that can save you some uptime. Now,
So
again,
this is
package
a-
maintainers don't use it enough.
This is
but-
a Debian-based system, but there is a Yum accessory thing called needs-restarting. You have to run it as root, sudo needs-restarting, but after you've done Yum update, it will query which things have been updated that haven't actually been replaced, like files and stuff that haven't been replaced by with the new version.
Yeah.
So it's,
And sometimes you can just.
yeah,
Sometimes you.
Yeah.
so needs restarting will list the things that need to be restarted. If it's kernel, obviously you gotta redo it. But if it's like, you just do the units.
Yeah, usually,
But if it's glibc,
You could theoretically just restart everything. that
It's
depends on
glibc.
that, But
Canonical is working on too, being able to apply more and more without reboots. Using their live tab.
they've been doing, everyone's been trying to do that for years.
Oracle.
Well,
There's different
I mean,
ways.
Sun OS got that a long
Some
time
of them were
ago.
doing it a long time
And
ago.
Juno OS, which is a router operating system, and the
Okay,
newest Cisco,
this one's nice and
Juno's
long.
still around?
not Juno as in
So
Juniper
read nothing
Networks
else, just
operating
read that
system
right
Juno.
Perform a daily MySQL dump
Juniper Networks. I
of the
guess I-
databases on the server.
Sounds like it relates to pretty stuff.
So this is on the slave server. So this runs on the slave server. And so the master server is replicating to this all the time. And then basically what I'm doing, I've got some functions here. So one function is check to see if replication is actually working or is on, is enabled. Okay, so is replication turned on? The next one is to change the state. If it's on and I want to turn it off, or if it's off and I want to turn it on, I just feed to this function on or off, and it does the deed. It's a pretty big. The key to that is, where is it? I'm echoing these in. So you have to have the my CNF file set up with the password, which is one downside right here. So you could specify it there and use it as a variable, but then it's in plain text in your script. You don't want to do that. It's still in plain text in the my.cnf file, but you can actually lock down permissions on that file. Well, root is the only that needs to be able to read that for it to function. So the password is in that file.
That way you can hand out the scripts to anybody.
Yeah. And when you call this, it's basically echoing the start slave command into a MySQL
Right, and
command line.
if your password was in the script, it'd be stored in your bash history then too.
Yep. So use my.cnf. So that's the on or off function, and it does a lot of error checking to make sure that it actually worked and did what you wanted to do. And of course, I have it in my main program to check the state, change the state, check the state again.
code storing your backup?
Or, no, I do that in the on-off function, I think. I change the state in the on-off function and then check the state, to make sure that it did what I told it to do. In case it didn't, exactly. So there's a lot of error checking in here for a good reason. The other neat little thing I do down here is I only keep, I do some cleanup. I compress the file here. I perform some cleanup. So I look for, using find, things that are older than 7 days, and I remove them. So that I don't keep a huge history around. Because this server gets back up to tape. Prior to doing this, this server was yeah.
That's only
So
a slave.
well, and the master wasn't either. The master wasn't either. So we really had no backups
No, the master
that were
was back up
usable.
to this one.
This is the backup, right?
This is the
This is the
backup.
backup. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, once you have a production problem, it overwrites the slave.
What do you mean read isn't the backup?
Yeah. So yeah, so I'm keeping a rolling history of the last 7, and that's going to tape every night.
Right.
So that I have in that tape history a little deeper history of SQL dumps.
So do you have to manually swap out tapes, or do you have enough tape that you can do all 7 without swapping?
These fit on a tape with other backups. They're not that big. We don't have a huge. We used to have a very big MySQL, but we don't. Now it's just small stuff. And it's not called SQL. It would suck if it went away. It would really suck if it went away.
Tapes,
But
tapes,
our business would not be affected terribly. There's no customer facing, money making stuff on these databases. So we're good there.
How resilient are the tapes?
Tapes are pretty good.
Like, are they like a hard drive where you can even get a magnet here
It's
and there
LTO.
here, or?
They're LTO.
Magnets hate those. So I'm
Magnets-
curious about this.
Magnets are no.
Okay.
We're anything
Hard drives generally don't care that much.
like you just haven't met a big enough magnet.
Yeah, once that tire's spinning, you
Sure.
drag it around it.
Or you happen to stumble into the 5 critical bits on that hard drive that you put.
They're on the boot sector.
Yeah.
I know that my little bitty neodymium magnets don't seem to give a crap about my 1 terabyte laptop drives, but.
Walk into the MRI and start
But I was
swinging.
gonna say, I bet that if I got a big enough magnet, do they suffer like floppies do, that if you leave them in heat cold, they'll deteriorate?
Tapes are environmentally
They're
sensitive,
real
yes.
crazy about environment.
Yeah,
Well, they degrade over time too.
yeah. They're probably better than like putting stuff on a DVD.
I've heard a lot about the whole optical disc, if you burn it, it doesn't
Even-
last, but
even
I've got stuff from
archival
15 years ago that worked.
DVDs, I don't think have a very long shelf.
It depends on the substrates.
Yeah,
And how lucky you are.
There are
Yeah.
optical.
if
discs
you
that
store
will
your
back.
tapes well,
I was gonna say, I have some optical media
You
from
can
15 years ago that
probably
works
keep
fine,
them
I have some from 6 months ago that doesn't work.
you're not having an issue.
That's
They're gonna have thick rock.
part of it is how well it was burned
Talking about
in,
tapes?
if you're on the right. So
There's
one
error
thing
checking
that I want
built
to keep
in
a long
into
time,
the-
I
Right.
run it slow with the assumption it's gonna burn.
But if
bits and
you're
pieces.
doing on long-term
That
archive
makes
sense. Fast
storage, you're
burn,
just gonna run
not so
through it
good.
once and then
That makes sense, I hadn't thought about that.
So you're not using
And
it
a lot of my
over and
older
over and
stuff,
over.
they
Right,
didn't have
that's what I'm
fast
thinking
burn.
about the rock.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's always a fun thing.
yeah. I mean, any media is gonna have that kind of
Yeah. I
That's
just,
why you write in triplicate.
issue. You should do multiple copies if you're doing archive, yes.
I have a live
is something-
offsite backup.
You
Live is
told
something
people
that
before,
I
so
wrote
we
some
know
of
it.
the
stories of like, yeah,
When
we've been
I
backing
feel
up
like
like
it.
these tapes, we didn't realize like
external
they
hard disk.
haven't been working for years.
There's
no
no
one-
one checked.
Yeah,
Oh.
there's no one restores.
Well, that's
My
a good
favorite-
backup system though. You can
Yeah,
put them on hard drives. if you
Yeah,
don't
but
check
it's
the
like,
integrity.
if the tapes.
my favorite as a consultant was going into the small office where their server had just crashed and finding out that Betty Sue at the front desk was religiously changing tapes every single
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And there was no backup channel ever. It had been failing for the last like 3 years. Every day she went in and ejected the tape, put in the next one, and went about her business. Because nobody was monitoring the logs. It had been failing. I'm like,
Also-
sorry, that server that just crashed?
Gone.
Gone.
Halt and catch fire, yes.
Well, I mean, I can restore from these tapes that haven't been written to in 3 years, but it's gonna be 3-year-old data.
I don't have any of these customers.
I definitely.
Oh, they get pissed when you're on that too. It's like,
Now, how do you, what's the best way to
you have
test?
to watch for both success and failure.
Right, but what's the
Monitor
best
both.
way to test it? Do you intentionally cause a failure once in a while? Just to make sure that it works?
There's a verify, there's a restore.
But I get, okay, so I'm thinking along. the
What
lines
we
of-
would do as part of our proactive maintenance for the clients who had actually purchased it from us. Not the Betty Sue's that, but we would go in and as part of our maintenance, we reboot the server, apply updates, reboot the server and all that stuff. If they had a backup, we would take their latest backup, pick a bunch of files off of it at random and restore those to like a temporary folder, just to make sure that the backup drive worked. And then we delete those files.
Or if you're really paranoid, deploy to an offsite VM
Yeah.
and verify that
That everything
you
came
can
back up.
actually
Yep.
restore from disaster.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to, depending on how the backups go.
Well, I guess what I'm thinking is, so I've got an rsync that runs daily, that just backs up my home stuff to offsite. But what I wanna know is if that rsync fails, then I wanna know about it. If it's succeeding, it can just write to the local log file, I don't care, but if it fails, I wanna know.
You wanna know if it's succeeding and failing both.
Because how do
Because
you
I don't
know?
need emails for both.
But if you don't get the ping that says I succeeded
It'd
every
be
day,
not running.
it may not be running at all.
How do you know that it
That's,
failed?
that's
in a
the
way-
exact analog
See,
of the lady at the
yes,
front desk,
that's-
putting the tape in and not realizing that the tape's not running.
So that,
She was ignoring the
yes, that makes
success.
sense. So if that makes sense. So if I wanna test though, what happens when it fails, what's the best way to do it? Just unplug the cable and watch it run, see what happens? Or, I mean, how do you test to make sure that your script is actually catching a failure and responding on it appropriately?
Well, then it depends on what type of failure.
Yeah,
It'll act
Yeah.
differently depending on, so how much do you want to test it?
yeah.
So there's like the exit code status. that
Yeah.
you're saying, like that's the good way, right? If our sync comes back with the failure code, you know it failed.
You don't even necessarily need to know why, as long as you
It
are
did.
capturing the error out
Yep.
and including it in your email.
Yeah, and if it fails, I'm gonna go look and see why.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I'm not just gonna say, oh, that's good, it failed because of this.
Yeah. So you write a wrapper.
Failure is fine.
But then to test to make that, I mean, I guess I wasn't sure if there was a best practice. My thought is to just,
Change your scripts to have rsync, do an rsync command not work. Simply no
Yeah,
avail.
like
To a server that
alias
doesn't
rsync to
exist.
dev null or something.
No.
NSA.gov.
No, they accept
Have
that.
rsync try to rsync
Accept
something that
everything.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, or to a server that doesn't exist.
Or,
something.
or put it somewhere that doesn't
Purposefully
exist.
fail the rsync.
So either have the source or the destination be something close,
Or chmod your destination to be,
Yeah,
not writable.
that'd be great.
Okay. I like
The
it.
immutable bit.
Yeah, you mutable bit of my entire backup.
I stopped a hacker once
It's
with
safer
that.
that way, right?
I stopped a
Well, just like
website
I
hacker with
accidentally
the
factory
immutable
reset
bit one
a
time.
cookie today.
Someone was defacing a site, and I used the immutable bit to stop them.
That worked. It's like-
And it worked.
Can't change anything.
And I was like, I'm done.
That's it, that's all you did.
That's all I
Like,
did.
you can keep access
I
to the
gave it
server.
back to the web
You
people.
can steal all the data, back to, okay, back to.
It wasn't my
Alright.
problem at that point
Alright.
anymore. My
Shut
immediate
it up.
problem
Yeah,
was
I-
to stop them from keep defacing the site. So
Well,
I just
see,
said immutable.
I
That's more than
usually-
that.
Whether or not the
That makes
web
me feel
devs
bad.
figured out that that's what I did, I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah.
Because
no.
that file is probably still out there.
I use-
They're like, why can't we freaking delete this?
I use immutable bit the other way around. I use it when I'm facing something, and I wanted to keep it.
Yeah. We'll just change it back, fix the problem I got into it.
Anyway,
Well, it's usually the.
Too much fun.
Other legal avenue for defacing myself.
As long as you're only defacing your own stuff.
Oh, no, I defaced the college kid stuff that, I was like,
So yeah, real quick, the only other thing that we had is everyone knows, apparently this is way too zoomed in. Let's see, can I zoom out? There we go. Yeah, Ubuntu just dropped a new thing. For those who don't know, it's what was it, like Bionic Beaver. Also, don't Google search for some of these things. It gets kind of weird.
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah, bionic beef is search term, that's a good one for the history.
Yeah,
although they're probably good enough searches, Google is learning, like, oh, this is what they want.
yeah, they were fairly harmless, but so the big things are the latest and greatest. It's going to be supported for at least a couple years. Don't really want to run it probably in the year 2023, but yeah, they'll still support it in theory.
Long-term support.
Yes, at least the installer for the desktop is only 64-bit, thank goodness. JDK 10 and read the release notes. There's all sorts of
Why?
miscellaneous
Nobody-
that don't matter.
Nobody reads the release
Isn't that
notes.
what this presentation's for? So we don't have.
Yeah.
There's a link at
They
the
call
end of
it
the
the
presentation.
Denner told me it would be fine to install. Why is it not working?
But yeah, the
I installed it on 2 machines and then just said everywhere I've got anything older.
I will give them credit. They put a lot of effort into their install screens. The cute little beaver stuff is kind of interesting, and it was fairly painless to install.
What's
Oh, yeah.
the
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
here, actually, I'm going to
Weekend was
kill
not better.
because for some reason Google's latest update is eating 50% of my CPU. So that's really problematic.
Didn't you read your end user agreement?